movie begins during the time of the Roman Empire, in a small village. A little boy is sleeping when suddenly he's woken up by clashes of blades. When he goes outside, he's shocked to see his village in total chaos and watches in horror as his dad is killed in front of him without any remorse. His mother was fighting some of the soldiers when she notices the boy standing without any protection, so she quickly runs to cover him but gets knocked out by a running horse. She's easily captured and gets mercilessly killed by the current commander Corvus. Seeing this, the boy pretends to be dead and he's carried to the pile of other dead bodies. Thankfully the bodies aren't burnt, so the next morning he wakes up to see other dead bodies hanging on a tree. He wanders around and into the forest, and when he gets tired he sleeps under a tree. Unfortunately, a group of slave traders passing that road sees him and quickly captures the boy as one of their own. 17 years later the boy is now grown and known as Milo. He fights against several gladiators inside one of the small arenas in the Roman provinces. He's faced with several gladiators but easily takes them out one by sheer skill and swift movements. The boss of the arena sees this and thinks the boy is wasting his talent in the small arena, so he tells one of his men to prepare Milo and some other men to fight in the biggest arena, which is in the city of Pompeii. The next day the slaves are forced to walk on the road for several miles when the daughter of the governor, Cassia, and her maid are passing the same road. Her carriage hits a pothole which causes one of the horses to fall down in pain. Milo sees this and offers to help the poor horse, but he's pushed back by the prison guard. The lady sees this and tells the guard to allow him to treat the wounded horse, which he reluctantly agrees to. After touching the horse and trying to calm it, the prison guard quickly calls him back to fall back in line. Cassia is touched by his kind gestures towards the animal, and her maid notices and tells her that the slave looks cute. Arriving at the great and mighty city of Pompeii, the slaves are taken to their cages. During their nighttime meal, Milo is sitting quietly when suddenly, a huge Thracian bully walks up to him and starts a brawl. Some of the prisoners begin to bet on who'd win, and the black prisoner bets that the Thracian would win. Milo proves to be the better fighter as he easily defeats the Thracian, and the prison guards show up to end the fight. Soon he's taken to his cell, where it turns out that the guy from earlier would be his cellmate. The black guy introduces himself as Atticus. He tells Milo he owes him 2 wine bottles for winning because he made a bet that he'd lose. He asks for Milo's name, and Milo shuts him out, saying he isn't here to make friends, he's only here to kill and fight in the arena. Meanwhile, one of the maids is tasked by Cassia to take one of the horses, known as Vires, for a routine walk along the garden. The maid takes the horse to a nearby stream, but the horse keeps showing signs of distress. Unknown to the maid, a nearby volcano is showing signs of eruption, so the underground heat causes the nearby pond to begin to boil until it finally causes the ground to shake like crazy, breaking apart. The maid quickly tries to run back, but she isn't fast enough, so she gets sucked up by the ground while the horse manages to escape the chaos. In the city, no one notices what just happened, and the horse makes it to the villa only for Cassia to see it and start questioning the whereabouts of the maid that took him out for a ride. From a distance, Cassia's mother notices the fumes coming out from the mountain but doesn't say anything. Inside the prison, the slaves are brought out to the arena and prepared for the fight tomorrow. Atticus would be gaining his freedom after defeating his opponent, which the boss slaver confirms to everyone. Atticus is confident about his winnings the next day and calls out for the unfortunate slave that would be dying for his freedom. Milo eventually comes forward, and the duo begins a deadly spar. Both prove to be formidable, but when things get intense, the big Thracian tries to stab Milo from behind. Atticus quickly saves him by kicking the guy in the face, and the sparring comes to an end. Inside their cage, Milo asks Atticus why he saved him earlier, and he mentions that gladiators don't die from a knife to their backs, promising Milo that he'd die but Atticus would be the one doing the killing. In town, Commander Corvus and his soldiers arrive at Pompeii under the rule of the new Emperor Titus to oversee the activities there. He's visited by the governor, Severus, and his wife Aurelia. He points out that they would be needing the support of the emperor to build the biggest fighting arena in the whole of Rome. Corvus agrees to see what he can do, so the couple leaves momentarily. That evening, a party is held in the main villa, where the fighters are lined up for the pleasure of any female that needs them for the night. The governor shows Corvus the designs for the new arenas. Corvus, however, points out that the new Roman emperor is rather not concerned about investing in a minor state like Pompeii, and his concerns are majorly on Rome. With that being said, he would be the one investing in the project, but first, he asks for a drink and wants his daughter, Cassia, to bring it to him. The governor is surprised to hear this but doesn't dare to ask questions, so he calls out to his daughter to bring him the wine. Moments later, Cassia comes in with the drink, and it's revealed that they've met before in Rome. In fact, the senator is the reason why she had to leave Rome on short notice in order to avoid him. Corvus tries to propose to her and take her back to Rome, but Cassia rejects the offer. Meanwhile, the activities of the volcano cause everywhere to shake, including the villa, but no one pays attention to it. At that moment, Cassia asks the slave guard to bring Milo along so he can tend to Vires, who has been in distress ever since. After tending to and calming the horse, Cassia joins him, and they both ride into the city. The news of a slave riding with a noble princess reaches the ears of Corvus, and he sends out his men to capture Milo. Milo is then brought to Corvus, who orders for Milo to be executed right there. But Cassia pleads on his behalf, saying he should spare his life because the slave once saved her. Hearing this, Corvus changes his mind for mercy and asks his men to flog the slave with 15 lashes of the whip. As punishment, Corvus's man tells the slave boss that Milo gets to fight first and die first in the arena. Cassia cries out to her companion about the lashes Milo received, confessing her feelings for the poor slave, saying Milo is the only man that makes her feel alive and free. Inside the prison cell, Atticus helps Milo with his wounds, and the two men seem to have shared memories of Roman brutality. Atticus confesses that he lost his family 20 years ago when the Roman armies invaded his village, and Milo also makes his own confession. With this, the duo considers themselves brothers, and the next day, all the people from all over the city gather in the arena for the great fight. At that moment, the boss slaves begin to notice the flawed state of the arena, with cracks on the wall. He reports this to the governor, asking him to postpone the fight so they can at least repair the arena to good standards, as he's scared of what may happen in the next few hours and doesn't want to be blamed if anything happens. The governor is hesitant, saying the arena has withstood many natural disasters, and a mere day fight shouldn't be a problem. After the governor leaves, the boss slaves quickly ask one of his slaves to prepare their carriage, as he would be leaving the town immediately. The men are soon brought to the arena. Instead of a normal fight, the gladiators are chained to a pillar and given their swords. Before the fight begins, the governor makes an announcement honoring the victory of the commander against their enemy countries, asking for his approval for the fight to begin. After a brief speech, he quickly announces that the fight should begin. With this, a selected group of gladiators, including the Thracian, fights the other chained gladiators. This method is installed by Commander Corvus to punish Milo and ensure he dies in the arena. The fight begins, and Milo's side starts to lose men quickly as they are outnumbered. They begin to fall back to the platforms to re-strategize, as Cassia watches in horror. Atticus and Milo work together and are able to defeat most of the other gladiators, and the crowd begins to cheer for them. This causes Corvus to become anxious, saying this was not how he remembered his battle in Celt, which was Milo's village. Cassia's uneasiness catches Corvus's attention, and he becomes extremely jealous. He asks Cassia what the slave means to her, and she confesses that she's in love with Milo. Upon hearing this, the commander announces that his father has already given her hand in marriage to him. The governor and his wife never did, but he imposes it upon them and forces them to comply, saying that going against him means going against the emperor, and the punishment for that would be death. Cassia ends up agreeing to marry him, as long as he doesn't do anything that would cost the lives of her parents. Meanwhile, the fight quickly turns on its tail, with only the Thracian remaining in a standoff. Milo engages in a fierce battle with him, easily defeating the Thracian. Milo quickly grabs the symbol of the Roman emperor to show his defiance against Rome and its emperor. He bravely breaks the statue into halves, sending the other half to Corvus in hopes of killing him. But his right-hand man Proculus comes forward and shields him from the attack. Seeing this, Corvus is about to order his soldiers to kill Milo. As he prepares to pass the order, the people begin to chant for Milo to be spared. With this, Cassia quickly raises her thumbs up to affirm the people's demand. Corvus tries to dissuade her from going against him, but she warns him that the people already want Milo to live. Going against it means disregarding the people, thereby losing their respect. Hearing this, Corvus quickly reconsiders and asks his men to take Cassia away. The arena begins to shake violently again, causing the people to panic as they begin to make their way out of the arena. Corvus calms everyone, and to spice things up, he announces that Milo will be fighting against the champion of Rome, which would be his right-hand man Proculus. Defeating him means he's earned his freedom. Before the fight, Proculus assures Milo that if he's looking forward to some type of revenge, he's so sorry for him because he shows no mercy. As the fight begins, Milo is easily defeated, as he's already tired from the fights earlier. Just as Proculus is about to finish him off, to everyone's shock, the mountain begins to show heavy signs of activity until the volcano finally erupts, emitting thick dark smoke that covers the sky above. Below the mountain, huge earthquakes begin to occur across the city. Corvus then orders Proculus to kill Milo immediately, unaware of the imminent danger coming to him. Soon the whole arena begins to crumble and he is crushed alongside the governor and his wife. Meanwhile, Milo uses the opportunity to push Proculus into the opening in the ground, taking them to the underground prison. This allows him to open the gates for the other prisoners, enabling them to help him fight. Luckily, Proculus manages to escape, leaving behind the slave guard, who is mercilessly beaten to death. In the arena, it turns out that the governor and his wife are still alive but badly injured. Seeing Corvus lying unconscious, Aurelia tells her husband to quickly kill Corvus so their daughter won't suffer. Listening to his wife, the governor grabs a knife and tries to kill Corvus. Corvus quickly wakes up and takes the knife from him, killing the governor instantly. He declares he's heading back to Rome and won't invest in his crumbling city, ordering Proculus to gather the men so they can leave for Rome. Atticus and Milo arrive at the arena and sees the mountain already expelling magma rock in the form of fireballs. Aurelia is still alive. She begs Milo to help save her daughter, who's been caged in the villa by Corvus's men. Milo is keen on going back to the villa, and Atticus warns him about the impending danger. Milo insists, saying she saved their lives and if not for her, they would be dead in the arena. Atticus then tells him to meet him at the harbor. Atticus gets to the harbor, which is now crowded with people trying to escape the city. Commander Corvus and his soldiers are caught in between the crowd, with heavy fragments of cannon rocks coming from the volcano destroying the harbor. Corvus orders his men to turn around and kill all the people in their way so they can head back to the arena and get a horse. Meanwhile, the boss slave, who has managed to find a boat, is ordering the men to row faster when a lightning magma strike hits the boat, killing everyone on it. Atticus climbs up a tower and finds that they are far from being safe, as a huge tsunami is seen approaching them rapidly. He quickly tells everyone to go back around, but before they can do so, it is already too late. Atticus spots a child about to be stomped by the incoming crowd and goes back to save her. Thankfully, he's able to carry the child and run as fast as possible to the other side of the wall, which is tall enough to hold the water away. Atticus and Milo finally meet alongside Cassia. Milo wants them to head to the harbor, but Atticus, who's just coming from there, tells him it's a dead end. So, they decide to go back to the arena to get some horses. There, Cassia sees her lifeless parents and decides to pay her last respects. Milo is against this, since they need to take the horses and leave immediately. Cassia insists and tells him to join Atticus and get the horses, promising that she will soon join them. Unfortunately, she is captured by Corvus, who takes her hostage, saying he can't allow a male slave to have his property. Seeing Milo, he promises a great reward to whoever kills him. The soldiers are easily defeated, thanks to the duo's teamwork. With Proculus as the last Roman soldier, Atticus tells Milo to go after Cassia, promising that he'll stay behind to fight Proculus. Even if he's going to die, he's happy to end it as a gladiator. Milo is grateful to his friend and wishes they would meet in the end. Milo grabs Vires and chases after Corvus, while Atticus engages with Proculus in a fierce battle. Proculus is still strong because he hasn't done much today, so he easily gains the upper hand and stabs Atticus with his sword. In that moment, Proculus says there's no way a barbarian would die as an equal to a Roman warrior. Atticus looks at him fiercely before splitting the sword with his hand and forcing it down Proculus's throat. Proculus begs for mercy, but Atticus tells him that gladiators don't beg. Meanwhile, the whole city is about to be engulfed by the volcanic eruption, while Corvus and Milo are still in a hot chase. Cassia is trying to free herself while Milo tries to catch up from behind. Soon, Cassia manages to take off her shackles and grabs Corvus to stop him, but she gets slapped unconscious. At that moment, Corvus hits something, which sends his carriage flying, allowing Milo to easily catch up. He immediately goes to check on Cassia, but Corvus attacks him from behind. Thankfully, he's skilled enough to defend himself from Corvus's attacks. He manages to stab him in the arm, but a huge rock comes striking near them. Corvus begins to emerge from the rubble, thinking Milo is dead, but out of nowhere, Milo jumps on him and locks him to the ground. Cassia quickly cuffs him to the carriage, and as Milo tries to finish him off, Corvus declares his position in Rome, saying he can't be slaughtered by a mere slave. Milo reminds him that he slaughtered his whole village. Seeing that the volcano has released a huge blast and is descending into the city, he tells Corvus that his gods have finally come for him before leaving him as he begs for help. He is soon engulfed in flames. Inside the arena, Atticus stands to finally acknowledge that he dies a free man before being killed by the flames as well. Meanwhile, Milo, Cassia, and the horse, Vires, make it to the outskirts of the city, but things get heavy, and the horse falls to the ground. Seeing that the horse can't go far with two people on it, Milo tells Cassia to go with the horse while he stays behind. Cassia refuses to do as he says and hits the horse to make it run away, meaning they have no choice but to die together there. The couple then stays still and shares a kiss as their final moments before getting cremated by the fire. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more.